The Court of Public Opinion is now in session. Community Advocate Ken Leon Guerrero hosting. Today we're going to look at the curious case of why Governor Calvo is so adamant that taxpayers borrow and pay their own tax refunds. I'm especially concerned about this after listening to his weekly address.
Half a day, everyone. I want to say undangkalin si Juus Maasi to all my co-workers in GovGuam who've worked hard, have tightened their belts, and helped us to realize a 13.4 million surplus for 2016. This is the third year that our administration has achieved a surplus.
Wait a minute. Did he just say that? Did he just say third year of surpluses? Let's look at that again.
This is the third year that our administration has achieved a surplus.
Now that's scary. That's worse than fake news. That's fake finances. But let's check out what the auditors had to say.
GovGuam is now facing a cumulative general fund deficit of $119.1 million. The Office of Public Accountability released an audit today showing that GovGuam had a $59.5 million deficit in the last fiscal year. Here's more.
The GovGuam FY 2015 audit is out. And again, the government of Guam had a large deficit in the prior fiscal year. According to the Office of Public Accountability, in FY 2015, GovGuam had a $59.5 million deficit. The year before that, or FY 2014, GovGuam had a $61.9 million deficit. This brings the total, or cumulative, GovGuam General Fund deficit to $119.1 million.
The governor's willingness to misrepresent the 2014 and 2015 audit reports shows me his determination to drive the people of Guam deeper in debt by pulling the debt bomb trigger. But fortunately for the people, there are a couple of senators who have stood up to the governor and are representing the people, trying to stop the governor from pulling the debt bomb trigger.
Now, there are those people, like our Speaker B.J. Cruz and Senator Mike St. Nicholas, who would take away from this success. But the truth, however, is noted in the audit report prepared by Deloitte & Touche.
Now, what truth would that be? That 2014 and 2015 were deficits and 2016 is only a surplus if you count borrowed funds? What was your version of the truth?
This is the third year that our administration has achieved a surplus.
So the governor has decided to stick with 3 years of surplus. I'm not surprised, because when administration officials testified at special hearings on Bill 73, they all declared without reservation that the government of Guam could pay the tax refunds out of cash flow by the end of September without the Tran loan. And in my opinion, I say we should let them prove it. Let's not take the risk of triggering the debt bomb. The governor believes and wants to put the island in financial jeopardy just to pay tax refunds a few weeks early. And I'm sad to say that he's not the only one who feels that way. Senators Estevez, Muña, Morrison, and Castro all agree with the governor. But then again, their voting records so far in the 34th have shown they represent the governor, not the people. Now, Senator Uggan and Senator Rodriguez are running for governor, or planning on running for governor, but they want to make sure they're on the side of everything that's popular. Now, I'm not sure why Senator San Agustin supported Bill 73, but we'll find out soon enough. Since the governor has been in office, it has been his policy to borrow money to pay taxes. It's a long-term strategy that they've been using. Starting in 2011, when the Calvo administration borrowed $198 million to pay taxes, and then again in 2012 when they borrowed another $16 million to pay taxes. And now he is standing in the Supreme Court of Guam trying to get the Supreme Court to force the legislature to allow him to borrow another $225 million to pay taxes. You know, the definition of insanity is to keep doing the same thing over again, hoping for a different result. All borrowing money does is get you even deeper into debt. And ask the citizens of Puerto Rico how that's working out for them. So let's take a look at what a tax refund really is. A tax refund is overpayment of taxes owed. So the government is supposed to refund the excess collections. So let's say you had $2,000 deducted from your payroll during the year. At the end of the year, you did your taxes and you only owed $1,000. So you're expecting a $1,000 refund check. The refund of the overpaid taxes. So they're sending you back your money. When you get your refund from the Tran loan instead of from Government of Guam operations, you are borrowing your own money. Because for every $1,000 you get back for the 3 years, 16, 17, and 18, you're going to be paying back about $3,350 when you include principal and interest over the next 31 years. So if you get $1,000 a year, you're going to receive $3,000 loaned to you by yourself, and you're going to pay back $10,079 through your taxes. So that means for the next 31 years, $325 of the $1,000 you normally pay in taxes will go back to repaying the principal and interest for the Tran loan for tax years 16, 17, and 18. Not a very good deal for taxpayers, but it's a great deal for special interest providers of the Tran loan money. So with the Tran loan, you didn't actually get a refund check. You got to borrow the $1,000, repay the $1,000 plus interest. So what happened to the money, your money that the government actually owes you? Well, it went to pay raises. It went to the Lejeune landfill tax credit. It went to the mayor's pickup trucks. It went to the most expensive health care option for Government of Guam employees. Those 4 items alone are over $40 million. That's 1/3 of the taxes that were owed to the people of Guam went to special interest and pork barrel projects. So remember, in testimony, all the administration officials said they could pay the tax refunds without borrowing the money and do it by the end of September. And I say, let's let them do it. Let's let them pay tax refunds out of cash flow instead of piling more debt on the back of taxpayers. And here's why I say that. When you look at a $225 million loan over 3 years, $22.5 million is going to go to administration fees and services. That only leaves $202 million to be used over the next 3 years to pay tax refunds. But the problem is, over the next 3 years, we know tax refunds are going to be about $450 million. So we're going to borrow $225 million, and it's not even going to cover half the refund. And this is why that is dangerous to you as a taxpayer, because we're going to have to repay the entire $225 million. We're not going to repay the $225 million less the payments. No, the entire $225 million has to be repaid plus $158 million in interest. So taxpayers are going to have to pay $383 million over the next 31 years to pay back the money that was borrowed to give them their tax refunds. The reason why this Tran loan is a bad thing for taxpayers is each taxpayer is going to be carrying a $10,079 additional debt burden that's going to be repaid, principal and interest, over 31 years. That means $325 each year from your taxes is going to be applied to the principal. So if you're paying about $1,000 a year, the first $325 goes to repay the Tran loan and the interest, not to better schools, not to better health care, and not to better roads and safer communities. Right now, government of Guam spends $1 out of $5. In other words, 1/5 of the government of Guam budget currently goes to debt service. And contrary to what the administration is saying, there are major financial hurdles coming our way, beginning with the Trump administration budget. We're looking at somewhere between $80 and $180 million reduction in federal funds. If government of Guam is having a hard time meeting its current obligations with full federal funding, what's going to happen if we're short $80 to $180 million? Everyone tells you that the first step towards solving a problem is admitting that you have one.
This is the third year that we've achieved a surplus, and we are reducing the cumulative deficit.
And Guam's problem is our leadership is denying the current high-risk financial situation that Guam is in right now. So until we can get our leaders to put the people of Guam first and stop borrowing money for expenses, Guam is in danger of becoming the next Puerto Rico. To prevent that from happening, like this video, share this video, and follow this page for the latest news.